Hi there, welcome to Oaklandside 510. I'm Tasneem Raja, editor-in-chief of the Oaklandside, Oakland's independent nonprofit newsroom. Later in this episode, Barbara Lee makes her re-election run official. New questions about Oakland's surveillance cameras, a deadly crash in Fruitvale, and some great food news. But first, the World Cup is here, and Oakland has its part to play. We'll tell you about the national team that is calling our city home, how local restaurants and fan groups are rolling out the welcome mat, and what it all means for a city that has always loved sports, maybe now more than ever. We'll also dig into something we've been working on for a while, the Mount Rushmore of Oakland sports. Who are the greatest athletes this city has ever produced or claimed? We asked mayors, coaches, journalists, team executives, and historians, and we got some great answers. Also, some great arguments. That's all coming up. Let's get into our main story. This week, I'm joined by someone who is bringing you the next chapter of the story of Oakland sports. Ann Marks began reporting as a freelance sports journalist for the Oaklandside earlier this year and has quickly become a go-to voice in our city on Oakland sports. Ann, welcome.
Thanks, Tasneem. It's been a great few months. This city has a lot going on sports-wise.
It really does, and you have been covering it beautifully. Now, I should mention, you've been writing our monthly Oakland Sports Roundup. You are capturing everything from, right now, World Cup watch parties, to ultimate frisbee, to cricket, to women's basketball. It's a real spectrum.
Yeah, and June is genuinely one of the most packed sports months Oakland has ever had. There's something happening almost every day.
And we will get to all of that in a moment. But first, the big one. So the FIFA Men's World Cup kicked off on June 11th with 48 countries playing across the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. And Oakland is right in the thick of it. Tell us what that looks like.
So Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara is hosting 4 group play matches. And Bart's running extra service to make sure folks from Oakland can get to and from matches. But what makes this special for Oakland specifically is that the Australian men's national team, the Socceroos, chose the Oakland Roots and Soul practice facility. That's the former Oakland Raiders training facility at Alameda as their official base camp for the tournament.
Which is not nothing. That is really cool. There is a World Cup team right now literally living and training in our backyard.
Right. And Mayor Barbara Lee called it a proud moment for Oakland. When the Roots, who are having their most successful season ever, held their preseason media day, their new coach, Ryan Martin, their new players like Tommy McCabe and Florian Below, they talked about how amazing the Roots facility is, saying it rivals that of an MLS club.
Wow.
The Socceroos executive director of football said having Oakland confirmed as their base camp gives the players a first-class environment to prepare. She said the team is looking forward to forging close ties with our Oakland community.
And Oaklanders got a first look at the team on June 3rd, right?
Yeah. The Roots and Soul hosted an open community training session at their Alameda facility. And I was there. About 900 fans showed up, along with Mayor Lee, Alameda Mayor Ashcraft, and even State Attorney General Rob Bonta, who's a soccer superfan. He played college soccer himself, and his daughter Reina was on the Philippines World Cup team in 2023.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. The players there were signing autographs, taking selfies. It had a real warm neighborhood feeling to it.
Yeah, I love all of this. And Australian fans are expected to show up in big numbers, even beyond, the people who got tickets to the actual matches.
Yeah, exactly. Australian fans are consistently one of the largest national groups at World Cups. So even fans who didn't get match tickets are coming to Oakland to support the team, just watch at our bars and be in the energy of it. The tournament's going to run through July 19th, so this is a real sustained presence.
Yeah, and Oakland is leaning in, as you've been reporting. Tell us about Australia a la carte.
Oh, yeah. So the Oakland Roots and Soul put together this promotion where 7 local restaurants are creating menus using Australian ingredients. It kicked off June 6th at Bake Sale Betty. As it turns out, Betty herself, Alison Barakat, is actually Australian. So she served her famous fried chicken with a version of chicken salt, which sounds like it's made from chicken, but it's just a seasoning salt that is apparently in every kitchen in Australia that they use to make things flavorful.
Yeah, I actually recently saw this on the menu at Abu Raya. So they are tossing their already outstanding tater tots in chicken salt. They're also offering some Australia-inspired sauces for their Japanese fried chicken. I tried the honey mustard, and I can tell you it is awesome.
Oh, yum. I know over at Boychik Bagels, they're offering a Vegemite spread. The owner there, Emily Winston, told us it's definitely an acquired taste.
Okay.
She said it's so savory, so she likes pairing it with their onion and everything bagels.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. Now, the World Cup is bringing people together across nationalities, not just Aussie fans. So how is Oakland making sure that, everybody feels like they're part of this?
Yeah. The Oakland Sports Group, which includes the Roots and Soul, the Oakland Ballers, the fan group, the Oakland 68s, the Oakland Marathon, and Oaklandish, put together something called the East Bay Soccer Trail. It's a website, so fans from anywhere or of anywhere can go there and find out where to catch each match, grab a meal, book a hotel, anything to get involved in FIFA. And for Team USA's first match against Paraguay on June 12th, the Oakland Sports Group hosted a free watch party at Raimondi Park, home of the Ballers. Big screen, food, family-friendly activities.
Yeah. Free is important. Soccer is meant to be a sport for everyone, right?
That's exactly the point. The idea is that live sporting events can get expensive.
Yeah.
What makes watching at Raimondi special is being able to bring people together without a huge price tag.
Yeah. So the Oakland 68s, Oakland's largest fan group, they held a watch party too?
Yeah, they hosted Mexico, everyone's second favorite team in Oakland, versus South Africa on the tournament's opening day, June 11th, at the Aloha Club in Fruitvale. The founder of the 68s, Jorge Leon, said, "Here we are in this world where everything seems so unsettled, but football community can unite us."
And before we move on from the Cup, are there any other teams you or, just folks you're talking to in Oakland seem to be particularly paying attention to?
Well, there's a lot of enthusiasm for Panama. Curacao is the smallest nation ever to qualify for the World Cup. And I have to root for Brazil.
Okay, why is that?
Because my wife is from Brazil. I don't have to always root for Brazil, but I can never root for Argentina.
Okay, understood. Let's pivot to another big piece from you, the Mount Rushmore of Oakland sports. So this was such a fun read. What was this all about and what was your approach?
So we wanted to capture the breadth of Oakland's sports histories. So I asked over a dozen people, mayors, council members, sports journalists, business leaders, coaches, former players, team executives, to each name their 4 all-time greats. And almost no 2 lists look the same.
Right. The Mount Rushmore concept, if you had to build a Mount Rushmore, what are the 4 people, teams, places that absolutely have to be on there? So as you said, almost no 2 lists look the same.
Almost. Because there was one name that was on nearly every single list, and usually first, Rickey Henderson. Oakland Tech grad, Oakland A's champion. The all-time leader in runs and stolen bases in Major League history.
Wow.
One sports journalist, Monty Poole, told us there's not much everyone agrees on, but everyone agrees Rickey was absolutely the best leadoff hitter in history.
Wow.
Paul Friedman, the CEO of the Oakland Ballers, put Rickey at the top of 3 different lists. He offered us a list of people who were from here and played here, a list of people who grew up here, played anywhere, and a list of folks who played here but were from anywhere. And Rickey was number 1 on all 3 lists.
Okay, so who came up the most after Rickey Henderson?
Bill Russell, the 11-time NBA champion, civil rights activist. He actually grew up in Oakland and was cut from his junior varsity team in high school before going on to become the winningest player in professional team sports. And Marshawn Lynch, beast mode, the Super Bowl champ. He played for the Raiders as well as the Seattle Seahawks. And people kept describing him as having that signature Oakland swagger.
So the swagger thing came up a lot in your piece.
Yeah, there were actually 3 athletes. It was Rickey, Marshawn, and Gary Payton, the glove, the Skyline basketball legend, who multiple people I spoke with described as having Oakland swagger. So Matt Steinmetz, he's another sports journalist who lives in Oakland. People probably know him most from the Golden State Warriors broadcasts. He said that those 3 send this positive and accurate message about what happens here in Oakland.
It seemed like people were really excited to talk about this topic with you. It didn't seem like you had a hard time getting people.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Everybody had personal stories to share. Tommy Hodel from the Roots attended Skyline High when Coach John Beam was there, so Beam made his list.
Wow.
Another Skyline alum, former Mayor Libby Schaaf, told me a story about meeting her childhood hero, NFL coach John Madden, during the Raiders stadium negotiations. And her mother was so excited about it, she baked Raiders-themed cookies to give him, which he happily ate during the beating. She actually told me that her mother was asked once about whether she took Libby to church growing up. And she said, not when there's Raiders playing.
Different kind of church.
Yeah. Monty Poole, the local Warriors reporter that we mentioned earlier, is a Castlemont alum. He had the same baseball coach as another Castlemont alum, Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. That coach, Joe Morgan's father, Leonard. So that's just 3 stories that come to mind, but everyone in Oakland seems to have a story about the players they love. That's why actually we included a link in the article so that people could share their own Mount Rushmores and also maybe give me some thoughts for a future article. They want to tell me the story about why they picked them.
Love that. And even with all these names, people pushed back on the idea that 4 could ever be enough.
Yeah, Paul Brecken-Meisner, who wrote the book on Oakland sports history, said it can't be a Mount Rushmore. It has to be a pretty big mountain range. And honestly, after reporting this out, I agree. I mean, you've got 3 McClymonds classmates from the 1950s, Bill Russell, Major League MVP Frank Robinson, baseball all-star Curt Flood. Each of them changed the face of American sports, and they were all playing on the same team at the same school at the same time.
Wow.
Russell and Robinson were the first Black coaches in their leagues. Flood is responsible for the existence of free agency. Right? You've got people like Alyssa Liu, right? She just won 2 gold medals at the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
Right? She brought Oakland to Milan. That's some Oakland swagger. Marcus Thompson, New York Times journalist and Oakland Tech grad, he wrote a whole book about Steph Curry and didn't even have a place for him on his list of 4. Another name I heard, Alexis Gray Lawson. Now she's Oakland Tech's athletic director, but she was a basketball star in high school and at Cal who went on to the WNBA. Gray Lawson herself named Anna Johnson, the first professional women's basketball player from Oakland, saying that Johnson is the GOAT meaning the greatest of all time, because she also coached the GOATs. She even coached NBA All-Star Damian Lillard at basketball camp.
So yeah, I hear it. It really does need to be a mountain range.
Yeah, it's a mountain range. And that's a great problem for the city to have.
Okay, thank you for that piece as well. Now, to wrap us up, Anne, you mentioned that June is packed with events beyond the World Cup. Give listeners a taste of what else you captured in your most recent sports roundup.
So the Oakland Roots are having a strong season at the Coliseum after some pretty disappointing ones. They're currently in playoff position in their conference.
All right.
So that's exciting. The Oakland Soul are near the top of their division, and they're playing their home games at Merritt College.
Yep.
The Ballers, they're the defending Pioneer League champions, and they're deep into their season at Raimondi Park. The Bay Area Falcons, our female and non-binary ultimate Frisbee team, are heading into a championship weekend on a 6-game winning streak with a great shot at winning it all.
Wow.
And the Oakland Spiders, that's our men's ultimate team, are undefeated 7 games into their season. The Women's Premier Basketball Association, a minor league pipeline to professional leagues like the WNBA, kicks off this month at Fremont High. And then Major League Cricket is coming to the Oakland Coliseum this summer. The San Francisco Unicorns, who have Indian cricket legend Ravi Ashwin joining the team this season, are hosting league play there later in June, and then they're going to host the postseason in July as well here in Oakland. So there's genuinely something for everyone this month.
Sounds like it. Anne's Sports Roundup is on our website, and we'll link to it in the show notes. I've been checking Anne's Roundup out, looking for games to take our young daughter to. I'm really excited for her to grow up in a city with so much representation across so many cool sports. Now, Anne, before I let you go, I want to ask you one more thing. You have been immersed in Oakland sports since well before you started freelancing with us this year. And through your reporting, you've been talking to fans, team executives, athletes, historians. Now, when you step back and you look at the full picture of what is happening in Oakland sports right now, just how does it compare to the story that we were telling just a few years ago when the A's left and there was so much grief and anger, and it really felt like the city was losing something that it just couldn't replace?
Oakland is a sports town. That hasn't changed. If anything, the absence of the A's and the Raiders has really crystallized what makes this town so special. We love sports. We've always loved sports, and we're going to keep on loving sports. For example, the Golden State Storm, an expansion team in the Women's National Football Conference, just played their first season of tackle football here in Oakland. And their 3 home games were the most attended games in league history.
No way.
So while the national story might be about teams leaving, we actually are seeing new teams like the Storm and the Skates, who are going to play hockey at the Oakland Ice Center this fall, coming to Oakland.
Yeah.
And remember, a number of these teams are collectively owned by Oakland residents, so they won't be leaving us.
Ann Marks, this has been really fun. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Tasneem. Go Oakland.
Ann covers Oakland sports as a freelance journalist for the Oaklandside. She also hosts Day Thinking Trivia Brunch in downtown Oakland. Time now for your Oakland headlines. Let me catch you up on some other recent reporting from the Oaklandside. Barbara Lee made it official this week. She is running for a full 4-year term as Oakland mayor. Lee announced her re-election campaign just days after early election results for Measure E, the parcel tax she had backed to raise additional city revenue, showed it heading for defeat. Lee took office in May 2025 after winning a special election, and she's currently presiding over a significant drop in crime, with homicides, robberies, and burglaries all down by at least 30% since 2024. 7 other candidates are exploring mayoral runs, according to filings with the city clerk, though none have previously held elected office in Oakland. And an anti-Lee website has already popped up. Also on the City Hall front, 2 stories from our reporter Eli Wolf this week. Mayor Lee has been very active with private fundraising, known as behested payments, in which elected officials like her ask companies and organizations to donate to third parties for civic purposes. Lee has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for city projects this way, from nonprofits, developers, contractors, and a union. Eli looked at how this could create conflict of interest problems under the strong mayor system that she is proposing. Under a strong mayor system, Lee or any other mayor would have direct power over city administration, including departments that handle contracts with some of those same donors. That story is on our site. A police recruitment consulting firm has filed a legal claim against the city, accusing District 2 City Council member Charlene Wong of backing out of a deal to help set up a military-to-police hiring pipeline for OPD. Wong disputes this claim. She says she never had any authority to commit the city to any contract and that the company's account miscategorizes their conversations. In other news, our road safety reporter Jose Formoso covered a deadly crash in Fruitvale this week. Police say a man driving a stolen van fled from an Oakland Housing Authority officer who tried to pull him over, then collided with an OPD vehicle at East 12th Street and 29th Avenue. 2 passengers in the van were killed. The driver and the OPD officer were hospitalized and are both listed in stable condition. The Housing Authority officer did not engage in a pursuit, the agency says. We've requested the body cam video to confirm that that's true. The investigation is ongoing. Also on public safety and surveillance, Eli reported this week that Oakland's network of flock license plate reader cameras captured more than 600 million plate reads last year. They were captured by nearly 300 cameras spread around the city. Only a tiny fraction of those reads generated alerts connected to criminal suspects. Meanwhile, OPD says it actually had to deactivate alerts for stolen vehicles and license plates because the volume was too high for the department to handle, given current staffing levels. Eli's story gets into the growing debate over whether this technology is living up to its promise. Now for some arts and community news. Oakland Carnival happened this past weekend at Mosswood Park. Our photo essay is on the site, and it is worth a look. Bright colors, feathers, music, dance, joy. Classic Oakland. In food news, a beloved Fruitvale street food vendor has opened its first brick-and-mortar location. Shukos Magi, run by Maria Rodas and her family, is now open. serving Guatemalan and Mexican food, including their signature chucos, loaded hot dogs, along with tacos, mulitas, and quesadilla. See our story for the address. And in perhaps the most Oakland versus not Oakland food news of the week, Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop Kitchen has launched what it is calling a Berkeley location, but it is actually operating out of the Adeline Food Hall in Oakland, with delivery to Berkeley, Oakland, and Emeryville. Finally, some events worth knowing about this week and beyond. The Oakland Athletic Club, the revamped sports bar at 59 Grand Avenue, has opened just in time for the World Cup. It is a fresh take on the beloved uptown spot with a new ownership group, an elevated food menu, and a dedicated lounge for women's sports. Also opening this weekend, the first major museum retrospective of East Bay artist Mildred Howard. A 5-decade career show is at the Oakland Museum of California on display through mid-October. And on Saturday, June 13th, Dax Lee's 4th annual Chili Cook-Off takes over Snow Park. Free to attend, though there's a fee if you want to try the chili, with proceeds benefiting West Oakland Punks with Lunch and the Homeless Action Center. Those stories and more at oaklandside.org. That's this week's episode of Oaklandside 510. You can find all the stories we talked about today and all of our other recent reporting at oaklandside.org. Sign up for our daily newsletter to get our reporting in your inbox. If you haven't already, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You know I love reading those. This episode was produced by Mark Nieto and edited by Esther Kaplan. Thanks, Esther. On behalf of our entire newsroom, thank you for showing up for Oakland. We'll see you next week.